Hi, my name is Austin Sykes, and I just want to take a little time to talk about my paper. The title is Sticking a Needle into Science. It's about the good and bad of vaccinations. So, I chose this topic because it's really relevant to what's going on right now in our society with COVID-19 being so present in everyday life. Um, and just with the vaccine coming out really recently. So I just kind of wanted to hit up on the good and bad of both sides of getting a vaccine, just in general. Just because I kind of sit more in the middle, and I just kind of want to get a better understanding of it. So I'll kind of hit more of my personal side towards the end, and we'll see where it goes from here. So just about the COVID-19, there's like lots of friends and families that have varying different opinions about the vaccine. Should you get it? Should you not get it? So, and there's also many conspiracy theories about the vaccine of like it can cause autism, it can cause certain things. Not necessarily about COVID-19, but just vaccines in general. But there's just a lot of conspiracy theories about it, even for COVID-19. So this kind of just makes me wonder, like, who's right, who's wrong? Is there a middle ground for it? So one thing you also need to look at, or like I was looking at, is just society versus an individual. So does your like individual beliefs or thoughts outweigh what society should have in general? So like society to be more getting vaccinated so that everybody has that vaccine and is all together in that and we can kind of get rid of it. Does that outweigh what somebody believes personally or like religiously? So you kind of have to weigh those two things. So then we'll get into some disciplines and methodologies. So one side of it is medical science. That's about just improving your health overall by kind of getting vaccines. So I went and looked at more into the history of behind vaccines and how they've really helped kind of society over the years and what they've all done and just using scientific method to get them out and to help with that. So then the other side is your political science side. This has to deal with more your government involvement in the vaccines. So them mandating vaccines, putting a stipend on them, and then the ethical issues behind that. You kind of have to look into what's right and what is wrong for them to do. Like if they're forcing you to take it, that's not necessarily the ethical of things. So I take a look at that, and this just kind of applies to pathos, which we've talked about in class. So, um, just your two different sides here. You have more of your medical community, which is your people that think that you should get vaccines and that they're the betterment for society and will greatly improve your health. And if we all get vaccines, then we'll eliminate a lot of these bad illnesses that are going around and greatly improve our society. Whereas anti vaxxers more take your personal beliefs or just believe that the fear of vaccine, like certain fears or religious beliefs, just outweighs that or like a benefit that a person might receive or that society will gain, and that's more of an individual choice. So we'll look into how vaccines have just been proven to be valuable over the years. So the first vaccine it was developed by Edward Jenner in 1796. Um, just developed like antibodies to prevent an infection. So that just kind of broke the ice for all these other vaccines that come in the years. So the smallpox vaccine was developed, and that was a huge milestone because smallpox was such a big deal back in the time. And now in today's society, like the World Health Organization has announced smallpox is pretty much eradicated. So that is just shows you that vaccines can be very beneficial. So but in order to get there, there's been a lot of trial and error and scientific method and seeing what's right, what's wrong, what works, what doesn't. Um, and also, we've seen a great improvement in our technology of being able to get them out and the effectiveness of them and understanding how vaccines work a lot better, especially like now, COVID-19. They got that vaccine out in less than a year, and we're really working hard on that. So, some more valuable things like I talked about Andrew Wakefield. This is a big ordeal. He falsely published an article about the MMR vaccine that stated it causes autism. It came to find out that his study was very biased, and because he used a small sample group that was tailored towards his side of it, just to kind of prove his point, so that he could make money and kind of get his name out there and stuff. But this caused major side effects with this because people believed him. They believed that it's caused autism and stuff. So people stopped taking the vaccine, and this caused a huge measles outbreak. So with this measles outbreak, a lot of scientists were, oh, we should go back and look into it. So they went back and dumped a lot of time and money into it, and they proved him wrong and found that he was biased. But even with doing that, some people went back to taking the vaccine, but there's still a lot of scared people that did not want to go because they still have that fear of autism in their children. So another example of where it's been proven valuable is in Japan, 1974. They had a whooping cough outbreak. This was a big ordeal, but they were vaccinating and they got the numbers way down and they're doing really well. But then a rumor came out that it was unsafe. So about 70% of the population just stopped taking the vaccine. And then there's just a massive outbreak of it. It caused quite a few deaths and just tons of cases over there just by that little bit of rumor getting out that wasn't even true, that the vaccine was not safe. So right now we have Dr. Fauci, who's like a leader on the COVID-19. He just said the vaccine was developed quickly, so a lot of people have concern about that. But he said that the scientific integrity was not compromised, even due to the fast time of getting that vaccine out. So just vaccines today, we have the COVID-19. We're just requiring to quickly get that out. We ended up releasing in December of 2020, less than a year. Testing completed there was a 60-day waiting period for side effects. It didn't show anything, and it had a 94 to 95% efficiency. So they went ahead and put it out to the public, and it's working on getting around today. So here's some reasons of why not to vaccinate. And there's just proven history of the effectiveness. Does it work? Does it not? The personal beliefs just outweighing benefits, and then just government mandates. Is it ethical to force somebody to get a vaccine or to pay somebody to get a vaccine? There was a Supreme Court case about vaccines in 1905, Jacobson versus Massachusetts. Jacobson refused to be vaccinated or to pay the fine of $5. So the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the mandate and ended up stating that the states have, under their police powers, which is under the Constitution, the authority to enact reasonable regulations as necessary to protect public health, public safety, and common good, saying that they can enforce vaccines. So that was a big ordeal. So methods of persuasion, is it ethical? Just one thing is we need to look into education, making sure people are educated about vaccines. Just seeing both sides of it, making sure they understand what exactly is going on, fixing any false theories that have happened in the past, and just trying to get a better idea in general for people to feel better about vaccines or just having a better understanding so they can make the correct decision for them. Um, So this is one thing I was talking about, just the government stipend paying people for getting vaccinated. This is a real ethical um, issue, like because people might not know the risk of getting a vaccine, and then you're paying them money to go and get it. So that's not that great of a thing, because if you're just like if somebody just has money on the mind, they might not know what exactly is going on. So that yeah, that just raises an ethical concern there. Just is it actually worth it to take that risk? It does influence the younger generations a lot more, the healthier people, because they might not be want to get it because they're healthy. I don't need it, I'm healthy, young, that kind of stuff. But then it's like, oh, somebody's going to pay me some money for it. So then I kind of want to go and get it just to get that money. So it kind of affects the younger generation a little bit more. Um, so there have been medical or government mandates on it. They can penalize you for not getting vaccines. In Australia, there's a no jab, no pay, withheld the government assistance until vaccinated. So that's a pretty strong push to get everybody vaccinated. In France, they have a suspended prison sentence for refusal. So meaning if you don't get vaccinated in a certain period of time, like that's a suspension period, then if you don't get vaccinated by then, you will serve a prison sentence. So that's a pretty big deal. And then there's just the usual monetary fine, like fining somebody for not getting it. This just kind of forces people to do it or just break the law. It's very coercive, and it's just not ethical. Anti-vaxxers, so they don't trust experts or the government. The reasons for not vaccinating, they just have some just general concerns would just be the natural immunity is better. Disease is just eliminating in the United States. We just don't have that much. Disease is not too serious, so they can just handle it. It's not that big of an issue. Um, there's just too many doses required to take for it. They just don't want to get that many. The fear of needles or pain, just a lot of people have that phobia and just don't want to have that. Then just more of your stronger concerns would be like the cause of autism from the MMR vaccine that was kind of proven false, but still people have the mindset from it. Just production concerns, safety effects, and just then I was talking about your religious beliefs because some religions don't think that vaccines should be required. So those are some of your stronger concerns. Um, and that's kind of covers it for what I was talking about in my paper. So to just kind of hit more of my personal side of it, I've kind of had both sides of it. I've been influenced by people that are very strong vaxxers that think that you should get a vaccine to better society so that people will be together and we can all heal and don't get that, like we can pretty much stop that illness altogether with it. But then I also have some friends that have that religious belief for one, and then others that just don't want to do it just for one thing. They don't want to be forced into getting it. So I've had all different kinds of aspects. I've seen both sides of it. I can understand both sides. So I personally, um, I'm still just honestly in the middle after all this. It did not persuade me necessarily one way or another. It did greatly educate me on everything that's out there and everything that's happened with it. But I probably lean more towards not vaccinating right now because I am more of that younger generation and pretty healthy and stuff right now. So I probably lean a little bit towards that way, but I'm not against vaccines. Like a stipend would definitely probably influence me to go out and maybe get it. So that's just kind of my standpoint on it. I hope you guys enjoy me talking a little bit about my paper. There's a lot more detail in that. I just was kind of going over my general points. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can kind of ask me about it. And thanks for listening. So.